Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey. And today we're going to talk about some injured players. Guys that maybe have been injured, maybe they're already back. Guys, others that are not back yet, when they're going to be back, what kind of impact we think they'll have here. So let's go through some guys here. I'll start off with the quarterback position. There's really just one to talk about at quarterback. It's Russell Wilson. He should be coming back this week. And it was a quick recovery from that finger injury. Guess, are we worried at all about him? What do you think? Russell Wilson, do you have any hesitation with how he's going to come back and play, or think he's just going to come back just right at it and going to be just like Russell Wilson normally is?
Yeah, I do have a little hesitation, only for the fact that I would like to see him play once, and he's going against Green Bay, correct? At Green Bay, I believe so.
Let me pull the schedule up here. I just had it and I lost it. Let me see the Week 10 schedule.
Yeah, so I believe he should be at Green Bay. So it does give me a little bit of hesitation just because we saw Green Bay have such a good defensive performance just recently. Past that, no. I think Russell Wilson will be Russell Wilson. He has, Lockett, DK, not too much. In the first 4 weeks before he got hurt, he was very, very good. So I feel good about him coming back. But if you, in the meantime, got a QB, you have a good matchup, something of that nature, I would probably stick with them. Yeah. Do you agree with me, or would you give it one game?
So, the injury was on his throwing hand, which is just causes some hesitation for me, where you could almost see a scenario where he does come back, but they don't maybe. It's going to be more conservative game plan maybe than normal. Maybe. We don't know any of this, but it seemed like it was a quick recovery from having surgery on a finger that's on his throwing hand. I'm a little bit nervous about that, I guess, to start. And actually, I'll probably be nervous about it the rest of the year with Russell, just because it's just there. It's just like, oh, it could happen anytime. So yeah, you're probably, if you pick somebody else up who you're comfortable with, I'd probably roll with them this week. I am starting Russell. I'll say this: I'm starting Russell in one of our leagues that we're in, not our main league, but one of the other ones, one of our important leagues. Russell is my quarterback this week. I had Joe Burrow, who I had picked up when Russell got hurt. Joe Burrow's on bye, so it plays out where I'm going to play him. I might have gone with Joe Burrow had they not been on bye this week, but that's the kind of level of player maybe that you might play over him. But Russ, if he's your quarterback, I think you might just you're going with him, right? And seeing how it plays out. But that being on the throwing hand, that's my worry. But I don't feel like they'd rush him back too quick. But then again, maybe not. They're 3-5. This isn't like they can't rush back Russ because we're gonna have a playoff run. No, they need him to get to the playoffs. If they don't, they have to do it now. That's my worry too. Are they rushing him because they need to win games right now? I don't know. Slight hesitation, but if you have him, you probably just play him. So, all right. Other than Russ, there's not really any quarterbacks to talk about. Let's talk about some running backs. Actually, I'll just start off quick just the Seahawks. Chris Carson actually might be coming back finally. Nobody there in Seattle has taken control of that backfield, right? Alex Collins has been the guy. He's Alex Collins, right? He's very mediocre. So Chris Carson can come back and just take total control of that backfield again. And this is one I don't think anybody's really thought about. Talked about Chris Carson, where he could just come back and actually have a good role, especially if they're not throwing the ball as much with Russ right away. If they're being more conservative, if Chris Carson's out there and it looks like he's going to return to practice this week, he most likely, we think he can come back. It's just not sure yet. If it's not this week, it's next week. But I think you'll see him against the Packers. It could actually work in his favor. So he's just kind of the forgotten man right now, I would believe.
Yeah, he's a very interesting one because he's always a solid player when he gets out there. He gets, 15 carries a game. He has a very good chance of getting in the end zone because he would also be the goal line back. Yeah, I really like this. He is one of those guys that is going to kind of come out of nowhere and people are going to forget. Like, oh, yeah, Chris Carson once again.
Yep. So, yeah, just Chris, who knows? Like, you could still maybe even get him in a trade for nothing. You should have done it a couple weeks ago, but not a bad play. All right, how about some guys that have come back already? We got 3 guys here at running back that have actually already come back. How do we think they're looking in their outlook? So Christian McCaffrey, he's been back 1 week. Over 100 total yards, no touchdowns. solid, decent game for Christian McCaffrey, but probably on the low end of Christian McCaffrey type work. How are you feeling about Christian McCaffrey?
It's hard not to feel good about him, to be quite honest. Watching him get the workload, and it's against New England. They're not exactly a pushover team. Yeah. They're a defense I don't really like going against all that much. So I liked what I saw, and even more so, getting the 14 carries for the 52 yards. Like, nothing broke out, but he did nothing in the receiving game, really. I mean, only 5 targets for him is incredibly low. So you always want him to get in the end zone, but first game coming back against a relatively solid D, and Darnold playing the way he is currently, this only makes me a little more emboldened to say, yeah, Christian McCaffrey will be fine. Let's just hope that health stays where it is currently. That's my only worry about McCaffrey ever.
I feel like the team's terrible, but it doesn't mean even they were bad against the Patriots, and yet he still gets, a decent amount of points. So you feel like he's relatively safe in that regard. I don't think we're going to see Sam Darnold this week, probably it looks like. But if it's P.J. Walker, I don't know what to think about P.J. Walker. It's hard to say. But Christian McCaffrey, I think, is pretty foolproof. He's just going to keep getting good numbers and be a solid player. So he's Christian McCaffrey. He should be good for you. All right, what about Dalvin Cook? He's been back 2 weeks now. Had over 100 yards this past week. So I think at this point, there's just no hesitations with just none, right? No, you're not. No hesitation at all with Dalvin Cook at this point.
No, he hasn't gotten in the end zone, but the 3 games he's been back, they've given him a very healthy workload. I mean, he went from 29 carries to 18 to 17. He's come close to 100 in every single one of them. The receiving game is just not there, and he hasn't been getting into the end zone. I do think that will change. I think now they know he's fully healthy. He'll get there. I mean, he's ripping off big runs. He's starting to look like Dalvin of old. I think that he will finish off with a very good last part of this season.
And with that, there's been no worry about Alexander Mattison at all being involved. So there's no worry. Dalvin Cook, he's been, Madison's had 3 carries, 2 carries, 4 carries last 3 games. So Dalvin Cook's back. He's fine. No worries there whatsoever. The other one, David Montgomery just came back on Monday night for the Bears. So this one the worry was, okay, what's going to happen with Khalil Herbert, right? Because he had looked pretty good in his time getting the chance to, fill in for David Montgomery. So how is this going to play out when David Montgomery comes back? With Herbert still have a big role? And this is how it ended up being broke down was David Montgomery, 13 carries, 63 yards. Herbert, 4 carries, 13 yards. It came back pretty heavily in David Montgomery's favor. And they got down to this one. They had to pass the ball a little bit. They maybe didn't get as many runs as they want. But David Montgomery also had 2 catches. Herbert didn't have anything. It pretty clearly came back in David Montgomery's favor. And I think there's the worries you may have had thinking, oh, yeah, he might lose this job. Not lose the job, but become more of a split. Doesn't look like that's what the Bears are going to do.
No, yeah, it looks like a one-back system they want to run. Great. Now you have a bye week, and then you go Baltimore and then Detroit. So I think that he'll have a healthy amount of carries every single game, is what we saw before, right?
Yeah.
If they don't get down early, he's going to be very effective. I think he's just going to go right back to what he was at.
And good matchups, he's going to play well. That's what he does. He plays well in good matchups. Other ones, he might get 60 yards, right? That's David Montgomery for you. That he's not a running back 1. He's a back end still running mid running back 2 maybe.
Yeah. And he's
mid running back 2.
I mean, remember, he is on Chicago.
Yeah.
You love him because he'll get the amount of attempts you need him to get, but nothing else is guaranteed.
But Herbert is not going to be the worry like we thought maybe he could be. He's just not. All right, then we get some other guys that are still hurt. And will they come back? What are they going to be? One of them is Miles Sanders. So he's eligible to come back in week 11. There really isn't any true news on it, but at the time when he went on IR, it was kind of surprising based on what we knew about his injury. So you got to think he will probably be available pretty soon after that eligibility comes available, 11 or 12. Has anything happened with the Eagles here that you're like, oh, maybe he's not going to play the whole time? Is Jordan Howard done enough that he's going to still be involved, or do you think it's going to go back to Sanders? Sanders hadn't been playing well before. It's weird because Howard's probably played better than Sanders did.
Yeah, exactly what I was going to say. Yeah. It's less about what Howard or any of the backs have done. It is the fact that Miles Sanders was incredibly he just was unimpressive when he was out there. Do I think that he's probably the better back? Yeah, I absolutely do. But that means very little to an Eagles team that is, kind of trucking along. I don't know. I get a bad feeling about the relationship between Miles Sanders and the Eagles organization in general. Maybe I'm way off.
Well, this is what he was doing here before he got hurt. Let's say all season. Week 1, he had, let's just say carries, 15 carries, then he had 13 carries. Then 2 carries, 7 carries, 11 carries, 9 carries, 6 carries. It's not good. That's not a lot of work.
And it's all over the place, and you're going in the wrong direction.
Jordan Howard's getting a lot more work than Sanders ever did.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, too, is now that you let him get a foothold in it, and we were already talking about this with Gainwell, right? And Gainwell did fall away, but Howard being around the goal line, I know, and Hurts being a running back, and then you have Scott. Like, none of these guys have kind of burst out and deserves more carries than anyone else, but I include Miles Sanders in that. So why rush him back? Is he looking that much better? Does he help you win? I don't think any of those answers are clear. So unless he comes out in game 1 and does the most with his carries, I think that it's just going to continue being a very, very aggressively mediocre season for him.
Yeah, I don't see Jordan Howard going away completely. He's going to be goal line. Jordan Howard is just he's just an average. He's a very average running back though, but he's good in his role. He's fine. He seems to be reliable, right? He's reliable, and they're going to use him. I don't see him going away, especially the way Miles Sanders has played. It just something about it. It's not great. So even when Miles Sanders comes back, I think all that means is I'm just worried about using anybody in the backfield. I'm just not looking forward to the end of the season if I have Miles Sanders on my team yet.
And that is a real bummer because, this could be like a golden opportunity, right? Because Miles Sanders has the Philadelphia Eagles have an unbelievable schedule coming down this last part of the season. They have to get by at Denver and then New Orleans, who both have been at moments have been really good on defense. But then you go the Giants, the Jets, a bye, Washington, Giants, Washington. You can't get any better than that. But I have this terrible feeling that you're going to end up in this 3-man rotation or 4 if he's really unlucky. And they're just not going to, if they weren't giving him, a guaranteed 10 carry game in the first half of this season, why are they going to give it to him now? So I wish, he should be better than this, but he's just not.
Yep. All right, what about Kareem Hunt? So Kareem Hunt, he is actually eligible to come back this week. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. His original injury, they said it was a 4 to 6 week injury. He's at week 4 right now. So you would expect to see Kareem Hunt within a couple of weeks. Yeah, for his sake, it would have been better off if he could have came back this week if Nick Chubb's not playing because of COVID. He would have been in good shape. I was going to say Dearness Johnson, he had an awesome game. The one when they were both out, when Chubb and Hunt were both out, he was great. Since then, he's involved, but he's not involved to Kareem Hunt's level. But you would have to think when Kareem Hunt comes back, he's going to be back to Kareem Hunt level, right? Or does Dearness Johnson get one more crack at it this week as the guy if Chubb's out and just kill it? If he does, what happens then? Are you just confident Hunt's going to come back in that role? You think he will?
What happens is Chubb and Hunt are just too darn good.
Yeah.
And I would love it. I would love if he doesn't get this. Hopefully they're able to trade him or do something so Dearness Johnson can go somewhere else and maybe carve out a niche because they just have too much depth there. I do think that he's going to have a really, really good game. I think Dearness Johnson is good enough to run behind that line and look really, really good. But yeah, when Kareem Hunt comes back, he definitely is a different type of running back than Chubb, right? They like to use him in different situations, a little more as a passing, pass catching back. So in your mind, you're always like, okay, if for whatever reason Chubb was out one more week after this or something, I don't think that's supposed to happen. But if he got hurt or something and Hunt and Dearness Johnson are there, does it turn into the exact same thing where Hunt is the primary back and Johnson hardly gets anything? Or because he's a different type of back, do they give Johnson the grind him out role and then Hunt still does his thing in the background? Yep. Is there any thought in your mind how that might change? I kind of think they would just lean on Hunt.
I think so too. I think it would be Hunt for sure. I think Hunt's actually a good trade candidate if you want to go. If you have spot on your bench and you can throw Hunt on there, I don't know how much you have to trade to get him right now. People like he's a few weeks away. It could be a solid option where you don't have to give up much, and you have another guy who could help you down the stretch once he comes back for those last few weeks before the playoffs and then into the playoffs. I just don't think you have to give up much to get him. Maybe you might be able to steal him from somebody.
I like that one a lot, and every time he plays, he's a top 15 guy.
Yeah, you might just be able to go steal him because his value is never as good as what he does anyway. Just being a backup running back officially. Yeah. So I think maybe that's a guy to go look at getting. So yeah, another one, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's been hurt out for a few weeks. It looks like at this point he's getting close to returning. Chiefs have a week 12 bye, I believe. And so you think maybe he'll be back after that bye. That's kind of what I would say. Darrell Williams has had an opportunity. He's been fine, but he's definitely not. Darrell Williams didn't go in there and just be like, yep, it's my job now. No, that didn't happen. Derek Gore had a little bit of a run. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire should be clear-cut number one when he comes back. Williams is involved like he will be. But what are we thinking? This offense is not necessarily the same as, maybe does Edwards-Helaire have something to do with it? Is that why they're so bad? I don't think that's the case. But the offense just isn't that good right now. I don't know how much Okay, this is one thing I think about the Chiefs in general. I do think they actually have to get to this run game to turn their season around in a way. Teams have kind of, figured out the pass game, but they know how to defend it much better than they did before. The Chiefs really do have to go try to run the ball and change things up a bit. I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire might have an opportunity when he comes back if they've been able to change their game plan around a little bit and actually, the Chiefs don't want to do it, but they really need to be a little more conservative and do something different. It's not working what they were doing before. So I don't know. What are we thinking about him?
I think I'm like everyone else. I'm very, very hesitant to make any grand prediction. I would like to say that that's what is wrong with KC. It doesn't feel like he's the missing piece.
No, probably not. But
he's going to be so up and down. He's going to be very hard to rely on. Like even when he was healthy, if you look at the first 5 games, he had 2 really nice games, and then the other 3, and one which he got hurt in, so you kind of toss it out. But the other 3 were nothing to write home about. If you're looking at standard, 7.2, 2.6, and 14.9, 17.4, 2.4. Those were points. I don't know. On top of that, I don't like the way that they're kind of very vague about his injury in general. Mm-hmm. So it makes me believe even when he is ready to come back, he's not going to be just handed, every carry. I think they're going to work him back in. I don't know. I don't feel good about this one at all. I just would kind of want to distance myself from it.
All right. Well, a couple tight ends I'm going to throw out there. We don't have to go too deep in the tight ends, but I just want to throw some names out there. Logan Thomas and Dawson Knox, both of them. They both might be coming back this week. If you've been hurting for a tight end and scrambling and playing whatever, out there and just not working out, go check your waiver wire. Did Logan Thomas probably got dropped, most likely. Dawson Knox might have been held on to more, but if not, go get these guys. Dawson Knox would be my priority. Logan Thomas number 2, but Logan Thomas could definitely be an option for you if you've been really struggling to find a player to actually use at tight end right now. I wouldn't, and I think Logan Thomas is probably out there in a lot of leagues. He's definitely out there. And Dawson Knox, I picked him up in the league. Somebody dropped him. Go look at getting those guys. I think Dawson Knox was really coming on before his injury, and he's only been out a couple of weeks. It wasn't even that long of an absence, but he was looking really good before he got hurt.
Yeah, Logan Thomas is only owned in 47% of ESPN leagues at the moment.
He definitely can be out there. The other one, Rob Gronkowski. I will say I would actually be really worried about this one. He has back spasms now after he came back. He had the ribs, all that stuff. Comes back, has back spasms. I can just see a scenario where they just don't want to rush him. They don't need to. They don't need to. They need a healthy Gronk for the playoffs. And that's all that really matters right now for the Bucs. They're going to be in the playoffs, obviously. They're good. They have other tight ends. If you're holding on for hope that Gronk's going to be your guy, I don't know. I would not be too sure about that.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. It's hard to rely on a guy they don't need.
They don't need him right now. Yeah. They need him for the playoffs. Mm-hmm. They want Gronk in the playoffs. And it was looking great early, but hey, this is
Especially his back. I mean, he retired early because of it, pretty much.
Go pick up Dawson Knox if he's out there. If Dawson Knox is out there, don't even think twice about keeping.
I thought this percentage was going to be a lot higher, but he's only in 61%.
He's out there in a lot of leagues.
Crazy.
Yeah, he's out there in a lot of leagues right now. So go pick him up. Go look in your waiver. Maybe he's there. Go pick him up. Go pick up Logan Thomas. Yeah, there's some guys to go get. All right, so there we go. There's some injured guys. A couple guys maybe to go after, other guys to be a little worried about. So
I like how we didn't have one wide receiver. Look at that.
There really is. Michael Gallup's the only one coming back that I know of right now. Really,
if you're going into the NFL, try to be a wide receiver.
So Michael Gallup's the only one I know coming back there, and I don't really care about it right now.
Cares,
So that's about it. But, all right, there we go. Talk to you guys next time.